I told my boyfriend I want to break my vegetarianism for a trip. Now he's furious that I wouldn't break it for him. Won't eat my meat. My boyfriend is upset that I consider breaking my vegetarianism during a week-long trip to Japan. I, 34 female, have been vegetarian for about 4 years. My boyfriend, 34 male, is a meat lover. He's an excellent cook and he loves steak and other types of meat. He's never asked me to start eating meat. I have never asked him to stop eating meat. I don't care what he eats. It's 100% his and everyone else's choice. I don't talk about being a vegetarian. I don't promote it. And I try to figure out my own food if I need to so I don't inconvenience others. Sometimes it's hard to find a restaurant with a vegetarian option besides a side salad, so I'll do the legwork to find a restaurant everyone will like. Also, this comes from Poppy Blossom 90 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my choice to be vegetarian hasn't seemed to be an issue or cause any big inconvenience, but maybe I am wrong. When I went on vacation with my boyfriend's family for a week, his mom revised her risotto recipe to use veggie broth instead of chicken broth so I could eat it. I didn't ask. I think my boyfriend suggested it to her. I was really appreciative. So everyone seems on board.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Supportive.
When my boyfriend and I went up on vacation for a week, we both looked up restaurants that would have a vegetarian option for me. We mostly ate at seafood places because of where we were vacationing, and I managed to find a veggie burger or something like that at most places. So OP's finding the spots. My take. I have a work trip to Japan coming up soon. I told my boyfriend I was considering eating meat during the week so I can fully experience the culture and food. That means sushi, wagyu, ramen, things like that. I'm not sure if I can actually get myself to eat meat during the trip because I think I'll feel guilty about it. My choice to be vegetarian is because I feel bad for how animals are raised, treated, farmed, and the nature of how they're usually killed. I know I can get humanely raised meat, but I choose to abstain altogether. I miss sushi and steak the most, but again, I abstain.
Can you do that?
What?
Like, I'm going to go on a trip.
You can do whatever you want to. It's a contract with yourself, Riley.
Okay.
All you need is...
I didn't know this contract with yourself and like the universe and like morals. How many other people are involved?
The universe can be shaped to your will. My boyfriend's take. He is upset that I would consider breaking vegetarianism for this week-long trip, but I wouldn't consider breaking vegetarianism to have a steak with him.
Oh. Huh? Wait. What steak? Just a steak in general?
Just a steak. Just a steak in general. You know what sounds like a mistake? What? This relationship.
Oh.
No, I don't think it's that bad. But I do think he's asking too much of you. It's like, well, this is, you're always here. And also this is a once in a lifetime trip to Japan. It's very different.
Yeah. I could see some frustration of always having to pick the right restaurant where he has to find something that has vegetarian options.
But that's her lifestyle. Like they're together with his, like together through her lifestyle. This is like a one-time thing.
Can you not be a little bit upset?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think I would be that upset.
Okay.
I don't think so. But I guess he is also like a big cooking guy. And so maybe he's like, he wants to share his meat with her.
Yep. All the meats.
Yeah, all the meats, like as much as possible.
Hey, babe, let's go check out this Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah. But it makes him feel like he's not worth it. It makes him feel like the trip and the coworkers I'm going on the trip with are more important than him. I know he bonds over sharing food with people. He likes to cook for other people, and he's never been able to cook a steak for me, and we've never been able to share a steak dinner together. We've gone to steak houses before, but I just eat whatever else they have. It's not the same as us both enjoying a steak. He's also said that all the effort to accommodate me being vegetarian seems like a waste now. Well, she's not going to change her vegetarianism. It's just for a week. It's not a change in her lifestyle. His mom going out of her way to make risotto without chicken broth, looking up restaurants where I can eat something besides a salad, him cooking up stir fry or other dishes and leaving the meat separate on the flat top grill until I serve myself the veggies. And then after that, he combines it all together with the meat, things like that. Me not being able to enjoy the best shrimp he's ever had on our vacation together. He was at the point of tears
Oh.
over us not being able to eat a steak together.
I love steak. My favorite dinner is steak and potatoes.
Yep.
I don't think I would be that upset over. I've never. Well, we have shared a steak together.
We
You and I.
have.
Yeah.
What was that? Catan night?
No, I made a steak that one night we were gonna hang out, and then I made it and then I saved it for you for later. I cooked it and you ate it later. But yeah. But I don't think that's like a huge milestone. Would that be a huge milestone in your life?
Huge milestone.
That's a huge milestone in your life.
You giving me that steak, big.
Okay.
Never will forget it.
Wow. So I guess he's on the same wavelength as you.
No, I don't want to be lumped in. I don't want to be lumped in. But I did appreciate you making that steak. It was delicious. It was delicious. And I understand like there are people that really are like, food is the window to the heart and the soul and all that. So I understand it would make him feel bad that I'd consider eating meat on the trip, but I haven't offered to eat a steak with him. I feel terrible for making him feel this way and making him feel less important or less worthy. I apologize for this and apologize for making him feel this way. I told him that's not it. It's not that he's not worthy, that this trip is probably once in a lifetime, and I'm afraid that if I have a steak here at home with him, I'm concerned it'll become a slippery slope. I told him I don't want to stop being vegetarian. How do I navigate that? That's a good point, because it's like,
Where's the line?
It's willpower. It's willpower. And if you start compromising in your home environment, it's going to be a lot easier to keep compromising. Whereas like when you're in Japan, it's like a thing, you're in a completely different environment. So you can kind of do things that you might not normally do at home.
Dude, I got a good one.
Yeah.
I think I read something that the American government gave United States soldiers cocaine in Vietnam, and the addiction rate of those soldiers that came back was like 25% because they were in a different environment.
It was
heroin. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. There was something like that. But yeah,
I've told you me
this.
I've told you this like 3 different times on this show.
Okay. Well then, this applies to it.
Didn't you read Atomic Habits?
I did not read Atomic Habits.
All right, it's in Atomic Habits.
It's in Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
But when you say this would apply, then if she goes to a different country, eats meat, it won't be a slippery slope whenever she gets back.
Well, that's what she's saying. She's saying like it's not going to be a slippery slope if I eat in Japan, but if I eat with you at home, it is a slippery slope because I'm creating those new habits where I live.
So he should go with her to Japan.
That is true. If she goes to Japan, then they can enjoy a steak together.
He really wants it that bad.
He really wants it that bad.
Give her all the meats that bad.
Solution. You're welcome.
Boom.
But we got some edits. When he told me how he felt about this, I listened, apologized for making him feel so poorly, and validated him. I understand why he feels bad, and I should have thought about how this might go before I said it, that I'm considering eating meat on the trip out loud. 2, during the conversation, I thanked him for telling me how he was feeling and thanked him for telling me how important that would be to him. So I offered to have a steak with him. And I also let him know I don't want it to become a regular thing because I prefer to stay vegetarian, or mostly vegetarian, I guess, since having steak with him wouldn't be vegetarian. I know sharing meals together is important to him. It's also important to me. What I did not know, however, is that he was so badly wanting to have a steak together where I could eat it too. When he cooks meat, I always comment on how good it looks and smells. And he has said before, I wish you could taste this. In hindsight, that comment from him was probably hinting at him wishing I'd offer to eat a steak with him. He hasn't asked me, hey, can you please eat a steak with me tonight? Or would you ever consider eating meat with me or for me? If he asked me those questions and I said no, then I said I'm considering eating meat in Japan, that would be a different conversation. I haven't rejected him in that way, but I also haven't offered to eat steak with him either until this conversation came up.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Why is it weird?
He's like getting all butthurt even though they've never even talked about it.
Yeah, I feel like you're just like, oh, like, could you eat steak with me too?
Yeah. But he's like
he's never asked.
He's never asked. I thought it sounded like he's always asked.
No, I don't. I guess he didn't ask specifically. I didn't know this specific thing was something he wanted so badly. I thought because he eats meat as much as he wants and we eat meals together that he was satisfied in this area. We never have been to a vegetarian restaurant together. I try to make my vegetarianism as small as possible. I don't want it to be a thing. I bring food to his house. I get side salads or kids' grilled cheese at restaurants that don't have any vegetarian options. I don't make it a big deal. I completely understand why he feels bad. That's not what this post is about. I'm just wondering how to best move forward. I also just told him I was considering eating meat on that trip without thinking about it first. I didn't think about how he'd feel. He'd feel slighted. I didn't think about how I'd feel. I'd feel guilty and anxious about the thought of actually going through with eating meat. And if you don't want to feel guilty and anxious about not spending quality time with us, you should join our live every weekday, 3 p.m. PST, right here on YouTube. So make sure you're there. Just have a profile. But finally, when we talked about it, I brought up that I'll have to slowly incorporate meat into my diet leading up to us having a steak together to going to Japan. If I choose to eat meat on the trip, I know it's a thing because like you have to build up your stomach again for it. Considering how anxious I feel about actually thinking more about going through with eating meat, I think it's best for me just to not eat meat on the trip. But now I still have to figure out how to address the topic with my boyfriend because now I know he wants me to eat a steak with him, and I offered to do that for him.
Ooh.
So what do we think? Do we think like OP is the a-hole for this? Like,
yeah. And they're both in their 30s, by the way.
I mean, I don't think OP has to eat anything she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I think it's a little whack that he's being so adamant that she eats meat. Commenter, reading your post history, your boyfriend has a habit of getting upset over your personal decisions and turning it into a slight against him. All right, we're about to get some more context. So, yes, there is a bit of a pattern. A few examples that come to mind. One, we broke up temporarily a year ago.
Ooh.
When we got back together and he came over to my place for the first time, I mentioned to him that his key would not work because I had the locks changed. That turned into a whole thing. He was so offended I changed the locks after we broke up and said I was labeling him as scary, violent. I don't remember the phrase he used. 2, when seeking a therapist, I only looked for in-network therapists due to cost difference. He has an out-of-network therapist. He is still upset at me about a year later for limiting my therapist search to in-network only and therefore limiting the potential to find the best therapist possible due to cost when he disregarded costs. So I should have disregarded costs too. And 3, when I broke up with him last year, we'd been dating 6 months at that time. I broke up with him over the phone because I didn't feel comfortable doing it in person at his house or at mine. Really? I don't know if he's necessarily shown violent tendencies. So
yeah,
I feel like it would be a in-person breakup at this point because
and you could bring a friend maybe wait outside with you.
Yeah, Kimberly Holly says just because you change the locks doesn't mean he's violent. He just didn't need access anymore. I think that's true, but I think a in-person breakup makes sense.
Well, they were together for 6 months.
Still, in-person breakup.
Okay.
Yeah, in-person break. Honestly, even after a month, in-person breakup.
Oh wow.
Like if you're official at all. Yeah. I didn't feel comfortable doing it at his house or mine. He berated me for doing this over the phone because A, that's not what people do after a month of dating, not after 6 months. That's what I said. And we had been talking about spending the rest of our lives together. I knew he was home alone at night when I called him, and I should have known he would not be okay by himself after breaking up with him. 3C, he threatened to end his life and blamed it on me.
Oh.
So when he threatened to end his life because I broke up with him, I told him that's not my responsibility. I realized that was incredibly harsh of me to say, and I should have said, I hope you don't do that. Please go to a hospital. And I should have called his mom or a friend to help, but in reality, it's not my responsibility. He is still so incredibly hurt and angry and upset with me and will not be able to forgive me because I told him it's not my responsibility. I was labeling him again as being violent because I didn't feel comfortable doing it in person. 5, when I bring up conversations about something I need from him or something he said that hurt me, he lays into me for bringing it up at the right time. I should have done it sooner, later, before we left, after we got home, etc. Not bring it up the right way. I should have made it a crap sandwich with a compliment first, then the real issue, then reassurance, etc. He also tells me, why isn't XYZ enough? when I ask him for something. One time I told him it would mean a lot to me if he would tell me I'm beautiful. Not that he doesn't do that at all, but that I really value that, and it would be a big deal for me to hear it a bit more. He went back through text to count how many times he's told me that. He told me he's referred to me as beautiful 5 times in the last 5 months. So why isn't that enough?
Get out of there.
According to the data, I said you're beautiful 5 times. Is that not enough?
Wow. But the fact is just the fact that he was like flexing. He's like, yo, I called you beautiful once a month.
Once a month.
Is
and that not enough?
And you want me to break up with you?
Crazy.
Or you want to break up with me?
I tell
Brother.
everyone in this house that I love them like 5 times a day.
We have constant
Yeah.
I love yous.
Yeah.
Constant.
But
Reinforce.
never tells me how pretty I am, though.
Constant booty grabs.
Dude.
Yeah, but I physically show you.
Your cakes are just so delicious that I'd
Gotta take a nibble.
Hey, this is a pretty crazy story. You know what else is crazy? You. That's right. You have crazy stories, specifically, possibly, of the inheritance variety. We are doing a brand new game show all around inheritance. 4 people thought they were going to get the bag, and 1 actually did. So if you have a story of coming very close to inheritance, but not actually getting it, or you did actually get the bag, you were able to successfully get the inheritance, we want to hear your stories. Click the link below, fill out your story, and we will get back to you and hopefully see you on the show.
Then I said, okay, if that's enough for him, I will accept that and accept what he gives me. Basically saying, okay, you're right, that should be enough. Then he got upset by me saying, I'll accept what he gives me. The conversation gets turned around on me for not communicating properly, and my concern is completely neglected, and it turns into me feeling like I have to defend myself for what I say, what my needs are, how I say it, when I say it, etc. I'm tired. Man sounds manipulative as F.
Dude.
I say, break up for sure.
Just leave it. Go on, live your life.
Hey, whoa.
One of these things has got to go. Hey.
I say,
I
you
picked
got
up on
to
the
live your life. Hey. Whoa.
Oh,
Na.
My boyfriend is convinced we aren't compatible, but he keeps changing his mind. So, I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 22 male, have been together for almost a year now. Things were going great, and I honestly felt very sure of our relationship. Even with our differences on how we were raised and how we like to spend our free time, I figured, no biggie, sometimes opposites attract. However, since July, there have been several times now where he always sits me down or has a phone call with me, either about something that is different about us or a problem that he has with me or things that I do. Note, I know there's going to be concerns about one another in a relationship, but I feel like it's becoming excessive, and he gets upset over things that are minor, in my opinion. Well, this comes from Icy Mango 6869 from r/OK Storytime subreddit. And here are the concerns. First one, our lifestyles. I live a very adventurous life. I do a lot of outdoor activities since my family and I have a vacation home. Flex.
Okay.
Whoa.
Money.
I'm so active because of my big money bags in my vacation home. Gotta lift weights to carry all that money.
Carrying those weights.
Oh man. So he was raised very secluded and has spent a lot of his childhood indoors, not doing a lot of out there activities. I had brought him into my vacation home 3 times, and each time there's been an argument. You're brought into like a nice vacation home and you want to argue? I'm like, I'm ready to kick back.
Dude, I'm ready to chill.
I'm chillaxing
ready to
now.
just go in the hot tub.
Right?
And then go in the ice bath and then go in the hot tub again.
Straight dunk it.
Just go back and forth and back and forth.
Dunking the cookies.
That's, yep.
One being that when we were on a jet ski, and he said...
That sounds lit.
But Sam, you know what he said? You can't change me into what you want me to be. I'm not going to be open to wanting to go out on the boat and like do stuff like this. He doesn't want it.
You're having this conversation on the jet ski?
Of course. How could you try to change me? How dare you?
This ain't a jet ski conversation.
Sounds like
Is that a seal?
That's some riding on the jet skis.
yeah.
Which at that point, it was, now he gets it. Which at that point, it was his second time going, and I responded something along the lines of, I'm just trying to share my life with yours because I know you didn't get to do this growing up, and I'm just sharing a big part of my life with you. Which is true. and I wasn't trying to force anything on him and just trying to share my life with him, especially since it's easy for me to do what he enjoys because a lot of it involves sitting around, watching TV, and playing video games. So OP is also kind of in his interest as well. Dude,
I feel like
who doesn't like jet skis?
I actually haven't gone on a jet ski in since 2014.
Oh, wow.
No, 2015.
Last year.
Maybe I've never been on a jet ski before.
Yeah.
But I want to.
I was on a jet
fun.
ski. It was supposed to be Rex and I, and we were going to go to the lake with a bunch of his coworker girls, and he didn't show up, so it was just me and a bunch of girls hanging out, and I gave him jet ski rides.
That's what they're being called?
Yep.
The kids these days. But there's also some hobbies. He claims several times that we have nothing in common, which seems like a big deal to him because he feels like talking about similar hobbies is how most people have conversations. Not true. Like I said, I'm very outdoorsy, but I do enjoy my indoor time as well. I'm very malleable, and I do a lot of nerdy stuff, and I do a lot of what he calls redneck country. Everyone knows that jet skis is redneck country.
Are jet skis redneck?
No.
We like them.
A door with a giant fan and balloons all taped together on a lake. Now that is redneck activity.
Is that a thing?
Just jerry rigging
Have
anything
you seen
together.
that before?
Not exactly, but that's
What's the most Florida contraption that you've seen? Dig in there.
Dude, I'm digging deep. Well, there's some bad things and then some. Those are the good things.
The good things.
I've definitely heard of stories of such contraptions being.
Give me one.
I'm trying to
Give me one.
It's like secondhand stories of other people doing it.
Give me one secondhand.
That's the inspiration.
Story.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
Give me one secondhand.
These were all
Come
secondhand. Maybe ATVing and someone pulling you by a rope and you're sitting it's almost like you're tubing, but you're on dirt and you have a little sled.
That's just smart. That's just a great thinking. That's engineering.
Yeah. Basically imagine a jerry rigged version of that. That's redneck activities. Anyways. So I have told him that not having everything in common is normal and you're never going to find a person that has everything in common with you. But rather, these are things that you can share with one another and possibly create new hobbies. Only issue is his hobbies include watching TV, video games, and watching wrestling and football. He likes watching stuff outside, but he doesn't like doing them. He doesn't do much of the outside things unless me or his friends ask him to go out and do something. Relationships. This one is short. I have been in a couple of relationships, but I have been in a long-term relationship that lasted 4 years. He has never dated anyone past 6 months, and the last he had dated before me was when he was 16. Doesn't count. So a lot of the things he is trying to figure out how a relationship works, but I do have experience. Our family dynamic, in my opinion, the worst one of all of them. We have we just had a massive 3-week argument over this and
3 weeks.
And it's why I'm making this post. This is a big deal here. I am very blessed with the family I have. I have 3 siblings, 2 dogs, and 2 parents that love each other and have been married for 29 years. We are all very involved with one another. We do a lot of activities together, eat at the dinner table, and we are all very close. And not just them, but I have close relationship with my extended family as well. And to put it simply, there's a lot of us. Awful. I'm sure he's going to have so many problems with a healthy family dynamic.
I can't believe it.
It's
Honestly,
insane.
Healthy family dynamics are gross. How are you going to mine your life for Reddit stories if you don't have a crazy?
How are we
family
creating
member?
content out of our life?
Exactly.
Everything's working.
How are we
smoothly.
going to get upvoted?
How are you going to go on this show and have John read it with his sweet tongue?
Come on! My boyfriend grew up with no father figure for most of his life since his dad was an addict and only being somewhat quote unquote involved after going into a coma 3 months after an OD. His sister is currently on the verge and needs a liver transplant after drinking it away at only 28 years old.
You drunk away a liver at 28?
That is
impressive.
God,
you're putting in work.
Dedication.
It doesn't come easy. He has little to no extended family, and he has no close relationship with anyone in his family. And even his parents don't really converse with him unless it's about his job or drama. The issue with the families. This is how the argument occurred. I still don't see where this would be a problem for him. If anything, it's like, oh, hey, I finally have like a support system, a familial like support system. My family practically took him in as one of their own right off the bat. Disgusting. How dare you? They want to invite him into the vacation home, have him over for dinner, do activities with us, etc., etc. There's even been times when I wasn't home and he came over to my house to just hang out with my family. He said that he felt like family to him and he could be open and honest about himself. However, in August, he texts me randomly asking to talk, and I call him and he throws this bombshell at me. He told me over the phone that since July, he's been thinking about it and he feels like my family doesn't care about him.
A new bombshell has entered the villa.
A new bombshell. That he feels like he can't be close with them or be himself. He feels like they don't ask him questions about himself. The conversations change too quick. So he feels like he can't talk at all and much more along those lines.
It's just because you're dumb. You can't keep up.
Yeah, it's not like the constant invites or anything else would give you a hint that they are interested in you. My goodness, dude. Clearly, I was confused because I thought we had a great relationship with him, and now he was essentially crapping on my family out of the blue. We had a massive talk about it, and I said that if this was something that he genuinely felt, then I could speak to my family about the matter because I wanted to make sure they are respecting him and that he's doing the same. He gave me the option to choose, and so I went with my gut and I talked to them. They were just as confused as I was and a little saddened that he felt that way. I called him again, and then he changed the story to, it's not that big of a deal. Then the story changed again another day where he went, oh, it's okay. I'll never be close to them, but I still respect it.
Dude, that's such pick-me energy. It's okay. They'll never like a guy like me.
Dude, it's so sad. To maybe we'll be close one day.
Dude, I hate this vibe. I hate it.
I'm doing a little foot thing, where you're like drawing like a little circle with your toe.
Yeah, that's a good foot thing.
Maybe.
The audience can't see it, but he's doing a great foot thing.
No free feet. Actually,
no free feet.
My girlfriend and I recently did a foot peel, and my feet are not good. I need to do another one.
You just gave free feet.
I know, it was an accident.
You just gave free feet.
I know. They're going to get a screenshot. It's so bad. Anyways, there you go. So all the way to, I didn't mean what I said at all. And in fact, I was putting my family issues onto your family and that I never had a problem with them ever.
Projecting your family issues onto another family?
That's tough.
I've never heard that before.
I got whiplash so many times from this conversation, and I'm still wondering what was the truth. He said the first conversation, he didn't mean what he said, and what he says now is true, and he was just upset at me at the time and said it in the heat of the moment. But it wasn't like he slipped up and said the wrong thing. This was a whole conversation that he turned around and then said he didn't mean any of it. Yeah, OP said this was like a conversation over 3 weeks, so it was less of like a heated moment thing, and then like the next day he's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like 3 weeks later, he's like, yeah, I kind of didn't really mean it.
I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to do that. I mean, I just make some mistakes, but I hope you can forgive a guy like me.
Because no one ever does.
No one ever would.
Nice guys always finish last.
And I'm a real
and I
nice
try
guy.
to finish last for you.
Even though I always fail.
Even though I always fail.
Unnecessary digs.
I fail at finishing. But I do it for you, babe.
So specific. By the way, on that note, join us every weekday live at 3 p.m. PST to get content like what you just experienced.
Yeah.
But let's get into it.
Don't fail to finish with us.
Oh, God. So I honestly could go on and on about these things that he said, but I covered the bigger stuff. I don't know. I've been feeling detached from the whole relationship ever since that argument regarding my family because he said a lot of hurtful things. I just feel like he's always had an issue with me, and he always says it's worth it because he loves me. But at the same time, wouldn't he rather want to be with someone that is more his taste? I just feel like he's trying to keep a relationship afloat and takes back a lot of what he says to appease me. But it just doesn't seem healthy in my opinion. I told him yesterday that I need time to think about everything because I'm starting to question our compatibility since he started to point out all of these reasons why we don't mesh well. I came on here for some comfort and hopefully to get some help and advice on what I should do. Failed snap. Am I the problem? Is he the problem? Are we just not as compatible as we thought we were? Let me know. Sorry, this is really long, but I needed to rant.
He sounds like a problem.
He sounds like a big problem.
Big old baby problem.
Big, huge problem. What do
Break
we
up.
do?
Break up.
Yeah, it's
He needs some time to grow up.
yeah, it's the kind of pick me thing of he kind of keeps he does these things to elicit this weird pity dynamic.
Yeah, dude.
That's going on.
When you play victim in a relationship, it's just like not going to be a good relationship.
Yeah, and he literally admitted like, oh, I just invented this out of nowhere. It wasn't like actually they've been like really great to me. And
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I guess at least he admitted it in the end. But
yeah,
like,
but it's like just being like, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing it.
yeah, I admit it. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to stop.
What?
I'm not going to stop Sophia from coming in here.
My fiance always said we fight too much. Now he wants to call off the wedding 2 months before.
Sounds like another fight.
Sounds like another fight. My fiance and I have been together for 8 years and have known him for 10. We've had our fair share of ups and downs and breaks in between, not lasting more than 2 months. All the breaks are initiated by him. The first few years when he was in university, I had already started working. He would ask for those breaks so that he could focus on his studies/exams. After university, when he started working full-time, the breaks were mostly taken when we've had a major tiff. It had been emotionally draining on me, but I still never gave up on us because I love him so much. Pause. Kind of wild to be like, I'm studying, let's go on a break. I think there's one thing where you can be like, hey, I'm studying. I don't think I'll be able to talk that much or hang out this week because, I got finals. But to just be like, we're calling off the relationship for this week. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Is that not crazy?
No, that's absolutely because he said it was a week period. Yeah, no, that's
That
Maybe
sounds
he
like
needs to
he's
get,
like taking off a week.
yeah, maybe he needs to like take care of some stuff that he can't take care of while he's in a relationship.
That's weird.
yeah.
Maybe it's a moral boundary that he has.
Whoa, are you trying to disrespect his boundaries, Sophia?
Wow.
No.
Men have boundaries too.
You got me.
Yeah, but this is crazy. This is absolutely insane.
2 years ago, we were supposed to buy a house together, and he backed out the day before we were supposed to sign the documents because he was afraid to commit to me lifelong.
Get out! Get out of there.
Don't stay
Get
in this
out of there.
relationship. He keeps going on breaks, and he's afraid of commitment.
Dude.
Yeah, no, and plus you both get 2 FHA loans, and you guys should have got duplexes and did that route.
Talk to him, Riley.
Yeah, that's really financial advisement right there.
He was scared of our future, worried we would be fighting all the time. We officially broke up, but he reached out to me 3 months later saying he's sorry and would like to work on things again. I think he just sees all the breakups as breaks. He's like, that's not going to last.
Babe, I'm sorry. I'm just out here studying so hard,
I'm just working on my exams. I wasn't thinking straight.
I couldn't think straight. I'm working so hard to try to be good.
We were on a break.
Yeah, we were on a break.
By the way, this comes from Savvy Bo on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So this is his first and only relationship, and I personally feel he has so many expectations of me, like how I shouldn't fight, cry, or bring any negative emotions to the relationship. You have to be perfect.
Be cardboard. Go.
Or I'm going on a break. I do agree that I tend to get angry easily, but I've definitely gotten better at handling my emotions over time. I mostly get angry only because he barely spends any time with me. Max once a week for 3 to 4 hours. He is super career focused, doesn't/very rarely meets with friends. He is introverted, family and career focused. And if I were to lay down his priorities, it would be taking care of his dog, work, family, gym.
No, not the dog.
I think
first.
I got it. He has screen time for his relationship. I spent 4 hours with you.
That's it.
I have to break up the relationship for now.
Yeah.
And then I will reactivate the relationship and the next week or the next few
on
weeks
like
or
an
whatever.
Instagram per
Exactly.
What is it called?
Mm-hmm.
When you
Oh.
you know?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I now
You know?
also you infected me. Okay, I'm gonna think of it. Keep going. Keep going. I'll remember it.
I would always be the least of his priorities, especially when most of his time is already spent doing things that are of his top priority. It is always me who accommodates to his schedules. I travel to meet him at his convenience. Times I feel neglected, I cry to him, and it ends up in a fight or something. This has gone on for years, so over time I just got used to his lifestyle, though there are times I'll pick a fight and it ends up with a month break or something. That's not good. If every time you try to have like a discussion, you go on a break,
dude,
that's not a healthy relationship.
I would love to see like a visualization, and I feel like it'd be like 1 day of relationship, 1 month break,
Yeah,
and
he's
like
like, it's
1
too
week of
much.
relationship, 2 months break. Like it's just like all break.
He's like, hey, can we hang out this week? He's like,
You're invading my boundaries of school and my dog. Detox.
a detox.
Yes,
That's also the word.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yes.
I was thinking fast.
He's like, I need a girlfriend detox.
Yep.
It's too much. One thing I really hate is that he's a flight risk. Whenever crap hits the fan, he runs away.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I thought he was like on the TSA blacklist. I'm like, I can't fly anywhere.
Also, one thing I hate is that he's banned from most airlines.
Dude.
And then instead of forgiving and forgetting, he says he forgives, but starts treating me so coldly for the next 2 weeks before asking for a break.
Oh
So
my
even when they're not
gosh.
on a break, he's not talking to her.
He has eternally broken up with you, but
Yeah.
he's trying to convince you otherwise.
Why are you
Yeah.
still with this man?
Why is he
Leave
still with
him.
her?
Come on.
Dude, like what could you possibly like
Yeah, what are
about
you getting?
that?
What are you getting from
Even
this?
from his side. I don't even know.
So the same thing happened this time round, where we had a series of arguments back to back closer to the wedding date. I forgot they were getting married.
Oh my
Don't get married.
Don't do
I
it.
object.
yeah, same.
I was feeling super stressed as I was handling most of the things, and on top of that, looking for a house too. I was also in the midst of changing jobs. His father got admitted in hospital due to a fever and was hospitalized for a week. This is 2.5 months before the wedding. Prior to the situation of his dad being hospitalized, we talked about how he hasn't proposed to me. What?
Why would you want that?
Wow. He's already my fiance without proposing, as we had a traditional engagement with families getting together. Wait, they're getting married and he hasn't proposed? He already brought the ring, and I know it because he updates me, and we even picked the ring out together. He has been sitting on it for a few months, and we had to make our wedding ring soon. I wanted the engagement ring so that I can plan how my wedding ring would look like. At this point, I knew he was just stalling because he didn't know what to do with it or was awkward about proposing, etc. Introvert who only knows nothing but work. I told him it's not fair that he was not willing to do something as simple as just kneeling down on one knee and proposing with the ring. I would have loved if he had planned out something in a private place, etc., but I had let go of all of my expectations and just wanted him to go on one knee and propose. If you don't have any expectations for him, don't marry him.
What are we doing here?
That too was hard for him to execute, but he told me he would definitely do it a day before our wedding ring appointment. He's like, well, I'll get it in before we go and get our wedding rings. It's fine.
He said, no, this is what he does. He walks in, they're like, dude, he's like, oh,
Here you go.
here you go.
Does that match? Did it match?
Okay, nice. I did
Perfect.
it. See, I gave you what you
Oh my
wanted.
God, you're so needy. I need a cleanse. I made a mistake in terms of failing to understand that his father was hospitalized and how much stress he must be in. A day before the wedding ring appointment, he told me to go back home and wasn't able to meet as he was still in the hospital settling his father. I was hurt and neglected and got super angry. At this point, I just felt like he was never going to propose, and I was so absorbed in that feeling. We eventually met to talk, but I was still angry at the whole situation, especially since I'm doing all the wedding prep too, and I felt so underappreciated. He walked off mid-conversation and went back to his house. I went over to his place and waited outside to speak to him because I knew I made a mistake by being so angry when we were trying to talk things out. He refused to come out to meet and talk to me, and I begged him over text for so long. He eventually came, but at that point, I was a mess. I went manic and started throwing my phone on the floor. He called his aunt without consulting me to come and mediate. I was super embarrassed at the fact that we couldn't deal with things like an adult. She eventually asked us to sort things out the next day, and we did over phone call. Everything seemed okay, and we spoke calmly and apologized to each other. Nothing is okay.
Nothing's okay.
None of this is okay.
All bad.
But you know what? It is okay.
What?
You joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
I like that.
His father was back from hospital, but things did not get better between us. He started messaging me coldly, never called like he used to, and I knew it was going to be over. At this point, I kept apologizing to him. No! Well, he never did and made me feel like I'm the cause for everything. After a week of this, I told him to meet, but he refused. He said we'll work things out, but a few days later mentioned that he didn't want the relationship anymore. I was devastated. I asked him as a last resort whether he needed some time to think about it and gave him 2 weeks, no contact. I've been crying for weeks and I feel like I'm going crazy. I really do not know how to solve this. I love him so much and he understands me, but I worry that he can't accept me for who I am. He's worried that we'll always be fighting, and that's why he wanted to call off the relationship. We've been together so long that it's so hard to let it go. It hurts so much. Don't fix this. Don't. Let it die.
Let it die.
Let it die. There is a dead rat on the floor and you're kicking it to try and make it come back to life.
You're giving him a little rat crutch and
little
little rat
He's dead.
wheelchair.
You can't Weekend and Bernie's this relationship.
It's done.
It's done.
It's done. We cannot prop it up.
No more.
Oh, well, I think at least even though she doesn't like it, it will eventually she'll get over it now that it is actually like truly.
Hopefully. Unless he comes back, he's like, I actually would like to try again.
I'm done with our break. Remember how I said it was like a break?
You remember when I said let's not get married, but like in a break way?
Yeah, that's how I said it.
That's how I said it. But that is the end of that story and the end of this episode.
Whoa.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
see you tomorrow. Goodbye.